Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2021. Still, NFL Week 17 best bets. Reminder to everyone to smash the like button to the episode, subscribe to Mayo Media Network, and play in the Listeners League, because we need to fill it, and it's not filled yet, so go do that. Link is down in the description. $15 to play, 3 max entry, and no rake, thus making it the best tournament on DraftKings. You want to run all the projections and game outcomes for the week, go to runthesims.com. Only $100 for the rest of the year. That's through the Super Bowl. Highly recommend it for your betting, for your daily fantasy, and especially prop betting, or if you just want to do your own projections, runthesims.com, a site built on 10,000 simulations of each game and each slate, is what you need to go do. Runthesims.com. Additionally, and this is going to be a big one, the Golf One and Done is now open for registration. It is filling at a lightning speed, so if you're not in the Golf One and Done, it goes from the Sony Open through the end of the year. It's $125 to play for the race for the Mayo Cup, $50,000 to first place, $500,000 of guaranteed money. Go to fantasygolfchampionships.com. You can have up to 5 teams in it if you want, or just hit the description right now, and you can find the link down there. I got my, we have our golf draft. The season preview with Feinberg is out. Golf starts next week. My voice is cracking already. Rob Pizzola, Cam Stewart on the show. Cam, you going to get in the one and done or what?
I know it, Pat. Yeah, I got to get in these golf tournaments. I love betting golf. I got to tell you, Jason Kokrak put a lot of jewelry on my woman this Christmas and holiday season. I'd like to thank Jason Kokrak for coming through so many times for this guy. Yes, Pat, I am very interested. You know me in golf. I'm a big fan.
Pizzola, you are going to play, right?
I will play.
Get on the links. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's you guys know me. I mean, anything like this, I'm in.
All right, so fantasygolfchampionships.com, race for the Mayo Cup. There's also a high roller one if you want a $1,000 entry. There's also cheaper ones at like $25 or $50. There's a bunch of pools and maybe even private leagues if you want to set one up. I believe that is coming next week. So go check it out, fantasygolfchampionships.com. Let's recap last week. I was on the struggle bus. I went 1 and 2. You guys both went 2 and 1. So we ended up going 6 and 3 for the week, 5 and 4 for the week.
Hey.
No, I think Rob, did you sweep last week? You did, didn't you? 1, 2,
I think
3.
I went 3-0.
3-0 for Rob Pizzola.
Yeah.
So 6.
I thought I did too, but I might have taken the Vikings. I forget.
Yes,
You
the
did.
Vikings were on your list.
Damn Vikings.
Yeah, I was cursing when Nick Foles was announced as the starter for the Bears, but it didn't matter anyways because the Seahawks stink. So yeah, it was a good week.
They do suck.
I kind of struggled. This is the reason why we did it on Thursday last week. So it's like, oh, I'll take a Thursday game. I haven't done that all year. Big mistake, Cam, putting money on Jimmy G.
Hey, listen. These guys were like literally, it was like men versus boys for the first half. San Francisco was slapping Tennessee, or I couldn't believe. And then I'm just sitting there, I go, guys, you need to get more points. Once they threw that interception in the end zone, Mayo, I'm like, I've seen this movie too many times. You're leaving these guys lingering, and that's what happens in the NFL. And then they totally flip the script. San Francisco's still the better team, buddy. But yeah, we'll see if Jimmy G. A lot of bad things happening now. Is it Trey Lance time? But Jimmy G says he's ready to go this week.
I don't know. Rob, do you think it's going to be Trey Lance?
Yeah, I think it's Trey Lance this week in all likelihood. I think they're probably just going to try to get Jimmy into the playoffs as healthy as possible. But you kind of got screwed on that play, Pat, because, I mean, Garoppolo hurt his hand and it was not known to us during the game. They didn't really talk about it on the broadcast or anything like that, but it was about the second quarter of that game where Garoppolo, I mean, it's like a ligament in his thumb or something like that. I don't know how much it affected him, but he clearly didn't play as well in the second half as he did in the first half of that game. And they were moving the ball and then they kind of bogged down. So I think you kind of got unlucky on that play because, as Cam said, the 49ers were dominating that game before that injury happened.
Well, I want to throw this out to you guys because I was talking about it with Feinberg and Cust on the Wednesday show that I think San Francisco should start Trey Lance the rest of the season. That's how I want my Super Bowl futures to go. I have the NFC Championship win for the 49ers and the Super Bowl Championship win for the 49ers. I know you guys are both on the 49ers at those big odds to win the Super Bowl as well. I just don't think they can win it with Jimmy G. Not that he's bad, but they don't have the defense they did that they had in their Super Bowl year, where Jimmy was just able to game manage. They were able to run the ball. I do think that they need an injection of upside. I don't know if Trey Lance can actually do it, but I think I'd rather roll the dice with the unknown at the moment rather than what I know in Jimmy G. Trey Lance could be terrible for all I know, but it was almost like that year, like year after year with Alex Smith. It was like, just play Kaepernick, see what happens. And I feel like that's where we're at with the Niners and Trey Lance right now.
That's a good point.
I usually agree with you, Pat, but I'm going to disagree here. Jimmy Garoppolo is one of these guys. I know he'll frustrate you. And the reason why people think that he's absolutely crap is, and you know this, Pizzola, he'll have one open throw and just miss the guy by a mile. It's
Right.
like, what are you doing? If you make that play, you're going to win the game. And the San Francisco 49ers are good enough to win the game. And I still think he's very efficient, Pizzola. You look through the numbers, right? Jimmy Garoppolo is actually not a bad quarterback. He's all right. And the thing is, him and George Kittle have a great relationship, the running game. And here's the thing about San Francisco, Pat, they're tough. Trust me, I like Trey Lance. Next year with more reps, this team's going to be unbelievable. If he learns how to throw and run because his feet are so damn dangerous, I'm telling you, though, I think they have a better chance with Garoppolo. And my futures say play Jimmy G.
Jimmy G is the most underrated quarterback in the league. And people will roll their eyes when they hear me say that, because everybody thinks Jimmy G is some sort of bum of a quarterback, and he's not. He's above average quarterback in terms of efficiency. He fits really well with that offense. But to Pat's point, we know kind of what Jimmy G's ceiling is. Like, we kind of know what we're going to get out of him. With Trey Lance, like, if you're holding a 60-1 ticket, potentially you catch lightning in a bottle, you throw the guy in, and all of a sudden he's unstoppable. He has a really high ceiling. Could have a really low floor as well. We get that. What I'd like to see the 49ers do is just use both quarterbacks. Like, nobody does this in the NFL call, where they just kind of have these different packages and keep the defense off guard. Shanahan is pretty innovative when it comes to offense. I'd like to see him run both quarterbacks, potentially start using Lance a lot more in the red zone like he did earlier in the year.
Well, the way that I would look at Trey Lance in this situation is that we know he can run. We even saw that in the Arizona game earlier this year, that if he can become just, almost a lot like what Justin Fields is doing right now, or was doing right now for the Bears, where he can run, take advantage of these shorter throws, and then throw 2 or 3 bombs during the game and hopefully connect with one. And I kind of envision them, if they can get their defense back up to not like elite levels where it's like the best defense in the league, but like top 10, top 5 levels, and Bosa comes back, they can rush the passer, they can shorten these games. We know how effective they are at running the ball in general. You put in Trey Lance, maybe that becomes more effective, and you have sort of that Steelers rookie Ben Roethlisberger year where you just shorten these games, try to make as few mistakes as possible, and just try to win by keeping the ball as much as possible, and hopefully everything breaks your way. It just feels like you said. I don't think that Jimmy G is bad at all, but I do think that his ceiling is not winning us our ticket.
Like the year the refs gave the Pittsburgh Steelers on Jerome Bettis Day, the Super Bowl, that was a lot of fun. Daryl Jackson offensive pass interference. I told you.
Remember that.
I'll never forget that. Me and Visine Vince are sitting there. I go, Vince, I think I might have to rob a gas station. He's like, what? I go, I lost a lot of money on this game. Teasers, everything. I go, Seattle should have like won the game. We didn't cover teasers. Sitting there in the snow going, I got real problems in life. And back then we didn't all bet on sports books. You get my drift? Like, yeah. So I'm sitting there. Johnny Knuckles is just waiting for the call. Hey, hi, pal. It's Cam. Yeah. A payment plan. Anyway. Those were tough times, Pat. Very, very dark days in my life.
Didn't you, I think it was Feinberg told me the story. Maybe it was Gabe told me the story that you won all of the money's one Super Bowl.
Which Super? Yeah. The Super Bowl, my best day ever, like on earth financially, was the Super Bowl between the New Orleans Saints and the Indianapolis Colts. So these guys roll in, Gabe and the rest of the game, everyone's betting the Colts. I'm like, I'm betting the Saints. I don't care what you guys do. And I know this is going to suck because we're going to be wasted for like 4 hours, 5 hours, but you know what? I'm not betting the Colts and Peyton Manning. No. And then I sit down at the blackjack table, Pat. They had this like Ethiopian dealer. This chick like was scaring guys away. Like even like good Italian gamblers, like they're running away, crying, jacket overhead. I sit down, I win. I split, I double, I win. I go, oh my God, I'm up like $3,000, like before we even started. Pit boss comes over, he starts giving me cut eye. I go, what? I'm not allowed to win at this casino. I'm at the Sahara. Like what? I'm winning for a change. Like just get out of here. Let's go. They switch the dealer. Win. Oh, what a day. Then we sit there, we hit the props. Pat, I think I won like $11,000 or $12,000 in like one. It was the best day I've ever had gambling. Hit every prop in the game, hit the Saints money line, crushed it on the felt. Those were happy times, not dark days. But Pizzola knows I've had a couple dark days and a couple really like the Green Bay Super Bowl in Woodbridge was a real winner too, where Jordy Nelson got first touchdown. That was a cash windfall. Played some ponies with Pizzola's old man too.
Oh man, that was at Wegs back in the day.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
Good times.
Sahara, I remember that place. And
I love the Sahara.
I mean, you were probably the only person in the history of that place I was betting like $50 to $100 a hand. That's why the pit boss came over. It was actually dollar blackjack there, right? Like every place was filled all the time because there's everyone playing dollar blackjack.
They were looking at me like I actually had like a system or was cheating. I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's just my day.
Well, let's get into week 17, the gold
Yes.
picks. I need to be better at this as I've been falling off a little bit lately. I'm still, for the season, 11-5 on the gold picks. Let's see, Pizzola, you are 11-7. Cam, you are 13-2-1 on the gold picks. And fortunately, all three of us had Cincinnati somewhere on the board last week, so that really worked out. I'm going back to what I feel like is the biggest trap line of the week, but I don't care. I'm going to step into said trap because I think that the number is just too low. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles -3.5 on the road at Washington. I know Washington has been banged up. They've had COVID problems. They didn't have their full complement of defense when we picked on them 2 weeks ago. Obviously, they did not look good on Sunday night. The line just feels too low. Like, the Eagles are good, especially their defense, specifically the defensive line. They're already talking about playing Kyle Allen and Tyler Heineke. I'm just not, it feels like Washington is throwing in the towel on the year. All the kind of the momentum that they built in these like weird games that they probably should have lost after Chase Young went out and the defense looked all right. It's all completely crumbled. So I know that the Eagles are not going to have Miles Sanders. They may not have Jordan Howard. I don't really care. They can run Boston Scott. They can run Kenneth Gainwell as long as Hurts is healthy and this defensive line is healthy. And even the offensive line is looking pretty, I mean, hell, they're catching touchdowns at this point. But just in the trenches, Philadelphia so outmatches Washington at this point. It's kind of scary. Feels like they're going to run for 250 yards on them. And the Eagles have this thing about playing bad teams to a draw in the first half. We even saw it last week against the Giants. Then all of a sudden, it just gets poured on.
Wake up.
Once they click, and maybe they'll fall behind. I mean, we saw this game 2 weeks ago, and Washington jumped out to this lead. Then all of a sudden, Philadelphia comes back. I just 3.5 points doesn't feel right to me. This feels like it should be 6.5. It feels like a 3.5 points. That's why I'm terrified that it's a trap. But it just feels like the spread that's most off this week.
I would have taken this game as one where Cam would probably have really liked the opposite side. And I would have thought that maybe he would have thought Washington would be his gold. And I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm personally like right now, DraftKings offering 3.5 on the Eagles. I hope Washington continues to get bet, and I could potentially bet the Eagles at 3. That's kind of my buy point there. I want nothing to do with Washington. I think late in the year, we're getting these situations where a lot of people are going to be talking about line value with specific teams and be like what the look ahead was in this game. I kind of agree with you here, Pat. I think that the wheels are just falling off for Washington. I mean, historically speaking, this is a spot where you do want to back a team, right? Like, they played Sunday Night Football. They get blown out in front of a national audience. But I think that there's a very large gap between these two teams. And that's the difference for me. I think Philadelphia, like you said, the running back injuries, they don't matter to me all that much. I still think they move the ball on this Washington defense. And like, it's been a mess for this football team. I mean, the COVID situations have killed them the last couple of weeks. Yes, they get guys back, but overall, it's just like it feels. I'm not like a narratives guy, but it just feels like a team that's checked out. And I mean, I couldn't back them with my money this week.
Yeah, Pizzola, you know me, but I'm not betting this game. But you're right. Like, this is a game that I look at, Pat, and I look at things differently than other people. It's the fact that when you're giving me a trap line, I'm betting that I don't see value in the other team. I think people who bet the other team are going to get screwed. That's the way. Maybe that's just my mindset is it's too good to be true. And there's a lot of that stuff in gambling. Pizzola and I talked about it before. When it's too good to be true, it usually is. But you guys are right about this one. That's why Washington didn't make the card. There's a lot of issues with that team. They're too banged up. They're going the wrong way. Riverboat Ron's dropping F-bombs at press conferences. Like, they're totally on tilt right now. And I know that feeling. That's a team I don't want to get behind, even if they do cover.
All right. So Eagles -3.5 for me. Rob, you are up. Gold selection, please.
Man, this is like completely not my style at all. I think Cam will love this one this week.
Bills.
I think you'll hate this one, Pat.
Bills.
It's not my style. I'm ready to look like a clown this week. The New York Giants. as my gold pick
I like
against the
them
Chicago
too.
Bears.
I
kinda
like
like
them
it.
too. I like them too.
I went with the Bears last
I'm not taking it, but I got no problem with it.
Listen, if this was an ordinary week, this probably doesn't make my card. I'm really like grasping at straws this week. It's a pretty rough board. I think we can all agree on that. But I could never get to the Bears laying this price. Like, I understand that the Giants are terrible. I understand like what this team is overall. But Mike Glennon, Jake Fromm, like, they're going to split time. I don't even know what that means. Who's going to get the majority of snaps?
You were just advocating for a dual quarterback situation. Now you got one.
I'm not saying I disagree with it if that happens, but I just don't really know
those
what
guys
that
aren't
is
quarterbacks, Pat.
in terms of a handicap. Yes,
That's
exactly.
the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's
It's a dog turd or a horse manure. Like,
exactly.
it doesn't matter.
Which one?
Like,
I'd rather have the dog manure. It's smaller, less dangerous. They both suck. Fromm's a turkey, and Mike Glennon's one of the worst backup quarterbacks in NFL history.
Agreed. But I will say this with Glennon, like, this is going to be by far the easiest defense he's faced. And
That's true.
with the Giants, if you look at their last 6 games and who they've played the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Dolphins, the Eagles, the Bucks.
Yep.
It's very easy for them to look terrible when they play that type of schedule against those teams that are all better than them. The Bears have won 2 games since Khalil Mack got hurt. One of them was last week, which was a 1-point win. The other one was Thanksgiving, where they beat Detroit 16-14. They haven't been favored by 3 the entire season. And now all of a sudden they're 6-point favorites because no one wants to touch the Giants. I completely understand why, but I don't mind betting on bad teams when they're playing another bad team. I could not get near this number regardless. Chicago's just not that good. Like, needing Chicago to win by a touchdown seems like a really bad bet. So I'm going with the Giants this week as a gold pick. Yeah, they could lose 40-0, and I wouldn't be surprised, but I can't get anywhere near this number. This is my biggest edge this week.
All right. I actually like the Giants in this game, too. I came to the same conclusion that you did, is that the Bears aren't good. Asking them to cover 6 points just seems like an awful lot. Issue's going to be when they win the game like 7-0. And it's going to be like, oh, superb. Or 9-0. Something stupid like that.
I feel like this game might actually have more points than people expect.
Yeah,
like, the
it's going to be a
really
lot of
low.
hijinks, turnovers, maybe a pick 6 or 2. Yeah, this game actually could get out of control because both teams are, as we said, a dumpster fire.
All right. Well, Cam, you are up. So we got the Eagles. We got the Giants. Are you sticking in the NFC East? Because there is another NFC East team I really like this week.
I'm going to tell you guys something. I don't know. It's the end of the season, and I'm going to agree with Pizzola. This card gave me a headache. Like, I look at these lines and I feel sick. Like, I feel like actually, like, this is 1 week. I don't like anything really, but here's the way. This is what we're doing. No, we're not. We're sticking with the team I went. I'm a lover of animals and cats. We're going back to the Bengals. Here's the deal. Kansas City, you got to go on the road now and play. I know, Rob, you had a little Twitter thing with Bengal fan, whatever. I don't care. Here's the thing. Burrow, this defense, everything I like. Now you're asking Kansas City to go on the road and they got to win by 6 points in this game. The Bengals offense is clicking. I think Mahomes is actually going to have some problems in this game. I think Cincinnati can win this game outright. I'm going to take the damn 5 points with a home dog. I know, gold pick. I couldn't decide. Like, do I take, Carolina against the Saints, whatever. Like, I'm just looking for something like Pizzola. Like, we're digging deep here with the Giants. I actually consider the Giants too, but I'm going with the Cincinnati football Bengals. Those pesky cats. They can win outright, Pat. I'll take the 5 damn points. Kansas City, they've been a hot team right now. They murdered Pittsburgh, but now you go on the road. Everybody on these guys are starting to cover numbers. I believe in the Bengals. I'm going to take them. Thank you.
Well, we all went to the Bengals last week, and they came through for us against the Ravens. You want to talk about?
They did.
You want to talk about closing line value? We got all the closing line value in that game. We got so much.
Sure did.
We got so much closing line value that I was convinced that Baltimore was going to win the game outright.
Me too.
At that point, based on how closing line value has gone this season. But I'm with you. I like Cincinnati +5 in this game too. It just feels like the Chiefs are really good, obviously. They might be the best team in football for all we know. But there's no one team that's so far above anyone else. And Cincinnati has the horses to keep up on the scoreboard. If it's a low-scoring game, obviously the Chiefs' defense has been playing a lot better, but so is the Bengals' defense at this point. And Kelsey's coming back from the COVID list. We just saw what it did to Tyreek Hill. I mean, these guys
actually a negative. In all sports, all these guys, sorry, Pizzola, I know you're kind of rolling your eyes, but here's the thing. Like in the NBA, when guys are coming back, Usually their point prop totals are a little bit too high. You're a sharp numbers guy. Like Trey Young, they're set it at 31.5 or whatever. The guy gets 28 points. These guys fall short. I'm just saying I don't really think the Chiefs can take that show on the road and like dominate a Bengals team like that, Pat. I'm with you. I just think Cincinnati, I know we have different opinions of this team. I like them on both sides of the ball. I think they're a good football team. And I think Kansas City, if the game was an Arrowhead, I wouldn't touch it. But I think getting 5 points as a home dog is the way to go.
What do you feel about this, Pizzola?
He doesn't like it. I could already tell.
I don't. I'm not betting the Chiefs this week. I don't like Cincinnati. Obviously, an interesting matchup. Burrow throws for 500 yards last week against a defense that's tailor-made for him. We all talked about this, but the Ravens had no defensive backs. They're a very blitz-heavy team, and Burrow kills the blitz. Now, Spagnuolo is a blitz-happy defensive coordinator as well, but if you actually look at the breakdown this year, he's been actually very smart about not blitzing quarterbacks that are good against the blitz. And I look at Cincinnati's offensive line. It's a bottom 5 offensive line in the league for me. They have the second worst pass block win rate in the entire league. I look at where Kansas City's been doing damage over the course of the past couple months. It's their defensive line that's now dominating games. And I'm not really putting any stock into Kansas City's win over Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh is trash. That blowout is not surprising there. But the matchup here offensively for Kansas City, Cincinnati cannot defend tight ends. All season long, they've been getting absolutely shredded by tight ends. A few weeks back, George Kittle went off against them for 150 yards in that game. And I just don't see them being able to defend Travis Kelce in this game. If they try to take him out of the game, I think the Chiefs have other weapons on the outside. And like I'm looking at Cincinnati, I think it's been a very consistent theme for them this year. They play a team that they should beat, they win. They play a team that they're like shouldn't beat or even just a step up in class and they lose. They were badly outplayed by the 49ers and Chargers at home in consecutive weeks. I'm not a believer in Cincinnati. I love Joe Burrow as a quarterback. I think sky's the limit for this guy. I hate his offensive line, takes the most sacks in the entire league. I could see this being like very similar. I mean, I could see a lot of outcomes in this game, but
how about 24-20 Kansas City and we all go home happy?
That's
I'm fine with that.
You know what? The way I described this game when I was thinking it through in my mind, that we're going to see the classic Chiefs in this game. They're going to get down like 20-0 in the first quarter, and then they'll have to rally back the entire game and win by 3. That's this.
That'd
game.
be fantastic.
I think it's more likely the opposite, where the Chiefs get out to a big lead and they try to slow down the game and Cincinnati throws their way back into it. Very similar to like the Chargers Bengals game where Chargers were up 24-0, then Bengals mount this big comeback. That's how I would see it personally.
Okay, well, we're on to silver picks now, Rob. That means you are up on the silver picks. You've battled back in the silver section, now up to 8-8. Our silver record on the year is not great because as a collective unit, we're 18-31 on silver picks. We're 33-14 on gold picks in 2 games above 500.
Gold's worth more.
Gold
that's
is
our
worth
mineral.
More. That's true.
Yes.
Yeah, we want the FE. We don't want the AG. Put it that way when we're going to the periodic table. But
yes.
Rob, silver pick. You're the best of the bunch with us. Actually, no, you're not. You're 6-10. Cam is the best of us at 8-8.
Okay, 6-10. I'll take it. I was on. I believe I started 0-8 on silver pick. So
yeah, I know you're rallying hard.
I'm basically like the Miami Dolphins, where I had that horrible start, and I'm coming in hot. And that's who I'm going to use for my silver pick this week. I'm going to use the Miami Dolphins. I don't like Miami. I don't think that they're a great team. I think that this run is very fraudulent. I think a lot of people understand that because they've beaten Ian Book and the Jets and the Giants and the Panthers and the Jets again and Houston. Like the only impressive win they had was against Baltimore, and Baltimore is arguably the biggest fraud of the good teams. Their offensive line isn't great. It hasn't manifested itself into a major issue because of all these terrible teams. Here's what I'll say about Tennessee. Early on in the year, they were a top 10 pressure rate team. They have been for a large majority of the season. That's been completely falling off a cliff in recent weeks. They're not generating pressure at the rate that they used to. So I don't think it's that terrible a matchup for Miami, but it's not the Dolphins that are laying 3.5 here. They don't have to win by a margin. They just have to keep the game close. It's the Titans that have to win by 4 points to cover. And this is a team that hasn't scored more than 20 points in 5 weeks. And yes, they get A.J. Brown back. He killed the 49ers secondary in the second half last week. The 49ers secondary stinks. The Dolphins secondary is very good. They have Xavier Howard, Byron Jones at cornerback. These are big upgrades. And Miami is now the team that is number 1 in the league in pressure rate. They just passed the Bills after last week. And the Titans offensive line has been horrible this year. 3rd worst in Pro Football Focus grades for offensive lines. So I think Miami can get after the quarterback here. I just do not see enough separating these teams to warrant a line of 3.5. I get that Miami, like, they stunk on Monday Night Football, still ended up with a blowout win because it was the Saints and Ian Book. But to me, this line is 3, 2.5, arguably. So I'll take the points with the dog. I mean, I'll continue backing Miami and Brian Flores, who I think has done a really great job in the second half of the year.
And you have the added bonus that Miami is the most reverse Anderkirk team there's going, Cam. Like every week, it's just like, oh, Miami can't make the playoffs. Miami can't make the playoffs. Now here they are.
I was mad at it. Yeah. Hey, thanks. Hey, Anderkirk. Like I told you, I really like you as a human being, but stop getting involved. Like I know it's a big joke for everybody, but like I'm trying to middle the Saints-Dolphins game. We got the Dolphins, and you put a curse on Ian Book. It's just like everything is, I expect Ian Book to have a fantastic game tonight. Yeah, it's a disaster. Pick 6, and we're sitting there with our nuts in our hand. Like, it's just unbelievable. Like, I don't know what people get pleasure and entertainment. Like, this is real money we're betting. We're not betting Monopoly money. I'd like enough of this. And when I'm leading a golf tournament too, like just to stop tweeting, just lay off, man. It's hard to win a golf tournament. I hate that stuff. Everyone thinks it's funny. It sucks for me because I'm sitting there. I go up to my girlfriend. I go, oh, here we go. Now I got to sweat this one out with a guy with a 6-shot lead and he's putting 3 in the water. It really sucks. I'm with you. And by the way, Jeff Feinberg, I'm a friend of yours. I see you like on some cruise ship with your blue blockers doing Miami Vice styles. Like, what the hell's going on here? Man of the people. I saw the video. Pizzola, you see this guy, he's living like he's right lifestyles of the rich and famous. I don't know. I don't know what Feinberg does. I guess the candle monies are doing a hell of a lot better than we thought because this guy's on fire right now. He's basically making it rain and he's on the ocean in a damn yacht.
He's Feinberg is very deceptive. I mean, he took me out to his private golf course last year as well for a round.
Oh my God.
It's a very nice course. The people all know him there. He fits right in. Like Feinberg likes to act like everything's tough for him. You know, it's all difficult.
Yeah.
Man of the people.
Life's tough.
Oh yeah.
My ass.
Life's tough on that beautiful golf course. It was like maintained by the best groundskeeping crew in Ontario. Like things are going okay for Feinberg.
You think?
Yeah.
That's where they're having like that. I believe they voted to host the Canadian Open like next year.
Yes.
What's his golf course?
It's
what
Oakdale.
Course, Pat?
Oakdale.
Oh, really? This guy's a member there?
Yes.
Oh my God, help me. Anyway, heart palpitations.
Cam,
do you
have a silver pick?
I don't really, Pat. I was going to ask you guys for help because I don't know where to go. Like I'm actually looking at the board going, hate it.
Okay, I will give you mine then.
Can we endorse the Saints?
No,
can we endorse the Saints?
I will give you my silver pick.
I mean the Panthers?
No, absolutely
not. You go first, Pat. You go first.
New England minus 15 at home against Jacksonville. Jacksonville is terrible. They are terrible. They couldn't beat the Jets. It's not it's not that many points when you think about Trevor Lawrence, who basically stinks. Then they don't have their best player in James Robinson. Not that he makes that much of a difference, but he is probably their best player. And now you have Bill Belichick versus a rookie quarterback who sucks already. Let's go. Minus 15. The Jags are not strangers to not covering big spreads.
I will say people are genuinely scared of betting New England at big prices, and they've just smoked every bad team they face this year. Like you think about the Thursday nighter against Atlanta, the game against Carolina, they went on the road. They won by like 20 points there. They killed the Jets at home. What was that? Like 54-13, I think that was. They killed the Jets on the road. I agree. I think the Jags, like there's no argument where you could get me to take the Jags in this game, especially considering the Belichick versus the rookie quarterbacks. I don't know how they score. Like their offense is 29th in EPA per play this year. They've played the 10th easiest schedule of opposing defenses. So even if the Patriots don't have like their A+ offensive game, and they get into the mid-20s here, I think they probably still cover. So I'm not, it's again, not a game that I will personally be betting this week, but I do agree with Pat in terms of the side that I like is New England.
Yeah. You can't make a case for Jacksonville. They're so bad.
So
they're just so shit. It's unreal.
They spiked the ball.
Oh no! What are they doing? You could have won. They moved up and down the field against the Jets too. Like, what are these guys anyway? Like, they don't even deserve our time. That team is just they're dog shit. They suck.
So, what game did you want?
I like a lot of dogs, Pat. I like a lot of dogs here. What do you guys think about Carolina?
No.
You don't like it?
No.
Oh, really?
I don't. I don't. I don't like this. No.
The Saints are horrible.
The Panthers are horrible.
Yeah, they are, but they also they own the Saints. That's another thing. Okay.
Do we know who the quarterback is going to be for the Saints?
Yeah.
It does matter.
If it's Ian Book, I should make Carolina my gold pick. How's that sound?
Ian Book, Carolina should be favored.
Well, who is it? I heard Hill's coming
It's
back,
Hill,
right?
It's Taysom Hill.
It's probably going to be Hill,
okay,
right?
Then I got
But is Hill actually activated off the COVID list? I haven't seen that as of yet. I think it's expected he's going.
What about the Ravens? The Ravens is a home dog.
I like.
You know what? Screw this. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens plus 3.5. I'm taking Cincinnati and Baltimore as my home dogs this week. I know Billy the Doorman. Here comes the call. Drink. Got to take more dogs. Anyway, it's never enough, Pizzola. Never. And then he told me he didn't know who Denver or the Raiders, which was the home team, because we went 5-1 last week, and if we went 6-0, we would have won the pool monies. Unbelievable. Of course, you know who the home. Come on, I don't need to hear excuses like that. Look at the schedule. Give me Baltimore, desperate team. Hey, Rob, you got to agree with one thing. Matt Stafford is fusing into Matt Ryan. Back, pick. Oh, wow, here comes the pressure. Here I come. Oh, another interception. I know Baltimore sucks, and the thing is, they're ravaged in their secondary. We get it. But I'm getting 3.5 points, desperate team. Hey, Harbaugh, don't go for 2 or do anything. Just even lose by 1. I really don't give a rat's ass. Give me the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. I don't care who's quarterbacking either. 3.5. The Rams team, the defense is good. They're overrated on their offense. Anyway, I might regret this pick, but I don't like anything this week. So give me the Ravens. Ravens.
Dude, can we get a bird noise?
Can you do that Raven again? One.
Yeah, Raven. He's a mean bird. I'll tell you, I used to live up in Yellowknife. Ravens are like the most mysterious, and birds, like they see you. Like they see you. Like when you're walking home alone drunk, like the Ravens, like I just wish I had a flock of friends because I want to peck this guy's eyes out right now. Like they're interesting birds, very mysterious. You don't mess with ravens. Like the Baltimore Ravens you can mess with, but real life bird ravens, like no. You stay away from them and you give them the respect they deserve in the animal community. I like the Baltimore Ravens plus 3.5. You guys?
I like the Ravens in this spot as well. It just seems
like
exactly that.
I just see Pizzola. This guy he's like my foil, Pat. He's just rolling. He's like this guy.
No. I don't have a strong opinion on the game.
It's a horrible game.
This has Rams Vikings vibes for me.
Well, then I got a problem, don't I?
Here's the thing with the Rams. Like they're actually not even playing that well, and they're covering games.
That's the problem.
And I feel like when they do actually play well, they're going to start blowing some teams out of the water. Now, it's a question of whether they're going to get back on track or not. But, frankly, I think there's a good matchup for the Rams. Baltimore's going to get Jimmy Smith back and Chris Westry off the COVID list. They lost another corner last week. Anthony Averett broke a rib. So the secondary is just so thin. I don't know how they cover Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham. Baltimore maybe gets Lamar Jackson back. I watched the practice yesterday where the guy is he's actually hobbling. If you turn Lamar Jackson into a pocket passer, what are you going to get out of him? I don't think it's going to be good.
A losing bet. That's what I'll get.
I think you are. And then Tyler Huntley, I'm not knocking the guy. I think he's fine. He's okay. But I think we need to pump the brakes on this guy being amazing. He played a game against the Bears where he was frankly not very good. He played a half against the Browns where he played well the second half when they were trailing 24-3. He mounted a comeback. He did the same against Green Bay, but in a lot of these neutral game states, he hasn't really done a whole lot. He had 215 passing yards on 40 pass attempts against Green Bay. Everyone's blowing the guy like he's, a second coming of Joe Montana or something. I don't know. I don't have a strong, I think the number's right in the game. I feel like Baltimore will be appealing for a lot of the reasons people look Baltimore home dog. The Rams are just so much better.
Tough schedule. There's a lot of things I like, but it all sucks. So if Carolina ends up covering, I'm going to blame you two guys. Cause but anyway,
I'm not talking you off Carolina. I don't like the game. I don't like
it's a horrible game. I wish Ian Book was starting because I'd make it my damn gold pick. But anyway, we'll move forward.
That guy. Oh my God.
His line, you know what? His line didn't do him any favors either. Those guys sucked and they dropped balls. I blame the whole team contingent there. They all stink.
If Taysom is back for the Saints, it's a real problem for the Panthers who can't stop the run whatsoever.
I agree.
And then Hill's going to run, Kamara's going to run, Ingram's going to run. That's all they're going to have to do to beat Darnold starting. And then what are you going to bring in Cam? Great. Fantastic news.
If we're being honest, this is how bad the state of the Carolina Panthers offense is right now. Darnold is an upgrade.
I agree. as crazy as that sounds.
But it's an improvement over what they've been starting. So
over Walker and Newton. Yeah, those guys are just like it's so bad. Yeah. The Carolina defense isn't bad though.
Yeah, it's a good pass defense, but the Saints don't pass.
Yeah, you bring up good points.
So, Cam, do you have a bronze level pick this week? You struggled for a silver. Do you have I assume it's
Pat. I gotta tell you, I'm struggling all around. I didn't have drinks last night. I woke up early, like Pizzola, early bird gets the worm. I should have got wasted because I hate this board. Like I have no idea what is happening. It all looks the same to me. It's a hard week. I got to tell you guys, I usually feel it, but I'm not really feeling it today. I'm pretty beat down as a human being.
Okay, so hold on.
Okay,
hold on.
I
was gonna say, Rob, do you have a concrete bronze pick?
I do.
Okay, let's hear that.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you for being prepared, Rob. Continue.
Concrete bronze pick is the Buffalo Bills against Atlanta.
I think they murder them too.
I know we're on the other side of 14 now.
We're at 14. We're at 14 on the dot.
14.
Thank you, DraftKings, for offering the 14. I feel like Cam here. I didn't want to beg for the half point or anything like that, so I don't have to. It's actually there.
That's funny.
Real number. Listen, the biggest concern for Buffalo is the letdown, right? Beating New England. But to me, the Bills are very well coached. And if you actually look at big wins under Sean McDermott since he's been there, they actually don't really let down after these wins. They play very well going forwards. And the Atlanta defense is going to have major issues. Like they can put AJ Terrell on Stephon Diggs, but Buffalo is going to get their wideouts back this week. Atlanta can't generate a pass rush. I think Buffalo is going to score points. And on the other side of things, you have a Falcons offensive line that's terrible, bottom 5 in the league. They have no real offensive weapons at wide receiver. I mean, I guess Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver.
And Ryan's a geriatric too. Yeah, guy's doing Tide commercials, but the party's over.
It is over. And it's the number 2 pressure team in the entire league in the Buffalo Bills against a statue quarterback. Atlanta has actually been trounced by every single good team they face this season. Like every team that they've faced that's a step up in class, they lose the game by double digits. In some games, they lose them by like 40 points like they did against the Cowboys. It's just a huge mismatch. I like Buffalo. Not really my style to lay these big prices, but I think that this is going to be a blowout.
I am completely on board with you. I was considering making the Bills my bronze pick at minus. Nothing like taking 2 AFC East teams, minus 15 and minus 14, and putting them on the card. But
yeah, where are we going to call you, Charlie Chalk? Like that's a lot of spread right there.
But here's the thing, though: people are so scared off by these big favorites. Like the worst thing that people do, it's like, well, I'll parlay together the Patriots money line with the Bills money line. It's like, oh great, so now you're going to pay minus 800 for a parlay. Fantastic. Yeah. Like, it does feel like they should blow. These are 2 teams that blow out bad teams. They're playing bad teams at home. It almost makes too much sense. But now that you've selected them as your bronze pick, maybe I'll try to change this up a little bit. Cam, I want to throw some games out to you guys. How about that?
Thank you. Yep, I'm ready, Pat.
One of your favorite teams to bet on versus your favorite team. Detroit plus 7?
This is the game. I want to, honestly, make Detroit a gold pick. But here's the issue that I have with this game. And why is it 7? Pizzola, these are the things that I think.
Because Seattle sucks. Seattle's bad.
No. Why is it 7? Like, why is Seattle not minus 4? That's they shouldn't be minus 7.
It was 9.5 on look ahead.
Baked in Russell Wilson.
It's been adjusted.
It's Russell Wilson's final game, maybe in Seattle. It might be Pete Carroll's final game in Seattle. I know they're not thinking about the spread or winning, but if they're going to play well, it's going to be this week. And I got to tell you, Pat, I'm on top of these things, like my murder mysteries. Detroit did one of the craziest things last week. Dan Campbell kicked a field goal with 2 minutes left. This is a guy that's going from his own 30 in these games. It was so against them. All of a sudden, I'm starting to think, what is Detroit up to? Are you now finally packing it in and saying, it's been a good run? It was very weird. You saw Pizzola. They could have won that game against the Falcons. Weird stuff happened at the end of that game. I'm not saying Pat Seattle wins by 7. Something smells in this game, and it's that line. I want to take Detroit so bad. It's so bad I could taste it, but there's a problem there. They hang a 7. It's weird. Don't you? Pizzola, do you agree with me on that one? I know you think I'm crazy, but I'm not.
This is the first time in a long time that I like the Detroit Lions, which is a guarantee that they're going to lose 42 to 10.
Exactly.
No, it's a lot of the argument I made for the Bears Giants, I think applies here. I think the Seahawks, in a lot of people's minds, Russell Wilson, especially, good quarterback. this price doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It really doesn't. Like, Seattle to me is not a team that can win by margin anymore. And if we actually look at the Lions schedule since they came out of their bye week, they've played a ton of close games. They've won a couple of games. The only game that they got blown out in really the last couple months was when they went to Denver, and they had half their team out on the COVID list in that game. So it is a team that has remained competitive. I mean, my biggest concern with Detroit, and this goes with a lot of Seattle games, but you obviously have to monitor the weather, because Seattle was just a snowstorm last week. It's looking like it can rain heavily for this game. I do not like Jared Goff in inclement weather. I never have. His numbers have been terrible for the majority of his career. Turns the ball over a lot, especially through fumbles in inclement
Played
weather.
well in that playoff game against Green Bay when it was cold.
He did. That there are exceptions to the rule, but I'm talking about career-wise. If we look at Jared Goff's career numbers, just normal conditions versus inclement weather, they're much worse. So that's my only concern with Detroit, but I would never, ever, ever lay this number with Seattle. I definitely think it's Lions or pass.
Okay. How about Cam? How about this one? Jets plus 12.5 against the Buccaneers.
I actually kind of like it. I haven't pulled the trigger on it. It made the short list, like a top 6 play. What do you like the Jets?
I do
like the Jets.
I like the Jets to cover this number. I don't love it. It's not going to be my bronze pick, but the Bucs have not been as good on the road so far this year. I think they're 2-4, 2-5, 2-4 against the spread so far, and some of them are pretty close calls. The only outright one that they really just hammered down to cover the spread was actually last week against Carolina, and Carolina may be worse than the Jets at this point. I don't know, but it feels like a game where they can jump out 20-0 and just not do anything, and then just cover easily, or not cover, like give up the cover, but still win the game easily. It feels like one of those games.
I agree. I think they move the ball. I just worry about the mistakes that the Jets make. Their defense is awful. It's in New York. Does Brady want to do some primetime stuff in a big city? I don't know. Like, these are weird ways of looking at the game, but I lean Jets too. I think Tampa Bay probably escapes with a 7 to 10 point win. I think the number's a little bit too high there. I'm not sure if it's going to make the card, Pat. I was going to ask you guys, Pizzola, here's the thing. I don't like going against your team, but Arizona's going to be desperate one of these times. What about the 5.5 with Arizona? Is that something that you can sink your teeth into or no?
This is my bronze pick. Dallas minus 5.5.
Oh God.
You want to see like the spot where people don't want to walk into the trap. I galaxy brained Pizzola, you did it too. We talked about you talked about the Arizona Colts game on the Saturday night, and we sat here, we talked about it, and we said, obviously the Colts are the right side of this game. Let's just play the Cardinals. They're going to come through. The Cardinals are like legit bad right now, and Dallas might be peaking, maybe a bit too early, but they're peaking at the moment. And I just worry about everything that's going on offensively for the Cardinals without DeAndre Hopkins. They're legit bad. They can't run the ball at all anymore, and that's how you beat Dallas. And ever since Dallas got their starters back on defense, their pass rush is amazing. And let's face it, Arizona's not going to be blocking anyone. Their pass rush has gone to shit ever since J.J. Watt went down. Rashad Breeland's not going to change anything in the secondary. No. I think that the Cowboys steamroll them.
So this Arizona team gives me the vibes of Pittsburgh last year, where people continued to bet them in the latter half of the year because the lines were inflated. Like, I remember the game against Buffalo last year. There was the look-ahead line was like Pittsburgh favored by 3, and then they reopened the game Buffalo -3, and everyone, as Pat would say, I actually like the term, galaxy brained their way into betting Pittsburgh in that game. Like, oh, like look what Arizona right now. If we had scrapped the first half of the year, and I understand we don't just do that in the NFL or whatever, but if we had just looked at like the last 8 games where they're 3-5, if you had not watched the first couple months of the season, there is no way you would think that this team is anywhere close to even an average team in the NFL. They cannot stop the run since J.J. Watt got hurt. Like, they cannot. They're going to get trounced by this Cowboys offensive line. I do think Dallas is going to move the ball pretty much any way that they want in this game. And I understand it's appealing to get these points with a quarterback like Kyle Murray, but this is a team to me that's a complete mess with an absolute shit show of a head coach in Cliff Kingsbury, whose entire career has been the exact same thing. Get out to hot starts, team falls off a cliff to end the season. And
he actually did that in college a lot at Texas Tech.
Every year, every single year. Like, it's just the MO of Cliff Kingsbury. Teams either figure him out. I don't know what it is. I don't understand what the like why that happens. But if the Arizona Cardinals last 2 games, they got absolutely smoked by the Detroit Lions, and they could not beat a team who was missing their entire offensive line. Like and the backups were getting injured in the game too. Like the Cardinals to me are an absolute stay away. I get the reasons why someone would play them, because historically, again, teams like this would have value. You know, they've stunk for 2 straight weeks and people are taking notice, but I don't.
Sounds like you two had a meeting and you told me to hit the bricks. Like, we're gonna take. You know what? I got one more suggestion, and then I'm gonna take probably something that Pat suggested earlier. What about the Raiders against the Colts? How are we doing?
What is it now? 6.5?
Yeah, like what? I think the Colts are gonna blow these guys out. The Raiders have been pretty gritty.
Well,
right? I really wish Sam Ellinger was starting.
What is the status of the Raiders defense?
Offensive line.
Well, no, I saw a bunch of guys went on the COVID list, but now I don't understand what the COVID rules are.
So if you're asymptomatic, you can get off in 5 days.
Yeah.
So if you have symptoms, you stay on. It doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. Asymptomatic, 5 days.
Yeah, but Carson Wentz isn't vaccinated. Why isn't he getting 10?
It doesn't matter. Now they've changed the rules to line up with the CDC guidelines. Doesn't matter that Wentz isn't vaccinated. I think Wentz is more likely to play than not play.
Pizzola, I didn't know you were posing as Dr. Fauci.
You know what?
In your other life.
I bet serious money on this sport. I need to be in tune. I don't claim to be a doctor. There's going to be no medical disclaimers on the screen. That's the rules right now.
Yeah.
Cam, how many points are the Colts going to score in this game?
Probably about 23.
Then they probably cover. That's my answer to you.
I don't know. You guys are messing with me this week. There's nothing I like. You know what, Pat? Give me the damn Jets as my bronze pick. I'm sick and tired of this game. Honestly, like, who else could I take? Everything, I'm not laying 6.5 with the Chargers. You told me the Panthers.
Cam, hold on, Cam. You are beating all of us this year. Go with what you want to go with.
Exactly.
I know, that's what
I was saying. You pick what you want to pick. I will say, of all the picks you could have come up with, the Jets are definitely the one I like the absolute least. Like, I'd rather eat a shoe than bet the Jets. Like, they are terrible. They had 100 yards passing against Jacksonville last week, and Zach Wilson talked about it all year. Cannot deal with a blitz, and he's going to be blitzed by Todd Bowles, who blitzes more than anyone else in the entire league. They can't run the ball on Tampa Bay because no one can run the ball on Tampa Bay. Like, I don't know how the Jets are going to, unless you think the Bucs are going to win 10-0, then, and now that I've said this, we know the Jets are winning outright.
Jets are the play. I don't know. I got to be honest with you. I had confidence in other stuff. Now I am completely rattled today. I have a lot on my mind. Do you guys like Cleveland on Monday night?
I actually galaxy brain my way into Pittsburgh in that game.
Holy jeez. Okay.
Hey, I mean, it could be Ben's last home game, right? I mean, that's I don't know. I don't know about any of these games.
No, honestly, you know what? Screw it. I'm taking the Carolina Panthers as my bronze pick, and I'm not going to get talked out of it. The New Orleans Saints suck. This team you know what? Their will has been broken. That game actually broke their will against Miami. I don't even think they show up this week. And you know what? Matt Rule will have his team ready to play regardless. And you know what? Beat me, Taysom Hill. Beat me by a damn touchdown. That's what I say. You know what? New Orleans, if they win this game, they win by a field goal. Carolina sucks, but I'll tell you one thing. Rob's right. Sam Darnold's actually going to want to play well because he's been so hot shit the whole year. He's been horrible. And the thing is, Carolina shows up in this game, divisional game, a team they own. Give me the 6.5 with the Panthers. Cat theme again. Yeah, I'm not adopting dogs. Bengals and Panthers. Give me more kitty cats.
The one thing,
and I'm not going to change my opinion anymore.
You know what? I will say this. I'll actually give you something that supports your play on the Panthers here, because if we look at historically in the NFL, the last couple weeks of every season, teams that need to win games to get into the playoffs,
they never win.
They have a horrible ATS.
Exactly, because everyone's like, they got to win the game. That's a real stupid way.
Lines are inflated because everybody's like, oh, this team needs to win.
The Saints are done. Can we just call it out for what it is? They're done. What are they going to do? Even if they win their final 2 games, like, are they going to get in? They're not getting in. They're 7-8.
Weirdly, they are a lot like San Francisco, and I think San Francisco is better than they are. But the Saints' defense,
way better.
The Saints' defense is so good that I feel like they can cause like the Rams a real problem if that's who they end up playing.
They have to get in first.
Maybe. I don't know about that. I just don't. I think their offense is so limited that if they did get in, they would.
Kind of
Get
agree with
smashed.
you, Pat.
Yeah.
If they had to rate like a semi-decent quarterback, they could beat anybody.
Of
But
course
it's just
they could.
Taysom Hill's like he's a gadget quarterback. Ian Book is not ready for the National Football League. It's quite simple. If they even Simeon or like God, if Jameis Winston stayed healthy, I'd actually put futures on this team.
Yeah, I agree. They played well with Winston, and they have a good head coach. Like Sean Payton has consistently done it in this league. He's not going to press conferences after the game like Matt Rule and comparing himself to Jay-Z or anything like that. That which was like,
Oh, this is the guy I'm betting on this week, Pizzola. That's really good fodder. Like, are you kidding me? Anyway, it's too many
Jay-Z
points.
7 years. Took Jay-Z 7 years, so maybe
Yeah.
the Panthers 7 years from now. Or I mean, Rule's had a couple years, so maybe 5 years from now.
It's going to be another 12 year. If you keep Sam Darnold, Cam Newton, and PJ Walker, it's going to be another decade.
Who do you think the Saints quarterback is going to be next year? Because
Russell Wilson.
If it's Russell Wilson, that's even better. But I felt like if the Browns don't keep Baker and Baker is healthy, it's a perfect spot
sucks
for
too.
him.
I would rather have the thing about Baker Mayfield is Russell Wilson is just so much.
No,
better than him.
I would rather have Russell Wilson, obviously. But
Yeah.
if Wilson's off the table and Baker, they don't pick him up to come back, Sean Payton feels like he could do like minor league version of Drew Brees with Baker
A
Mayfield.
good call. Just don't put the game in Mayfield's hands. And the thing is, his girlfriend's like crying now. Like, oh, people are giving my man death threats and stuff. Like, he might want to get out of Cleveland and start new anyway. And then Rob, your boy Stefanski's a piece of shit, by the way. You're running Nick Chubb, and you would have won the game if Baker Mayfield didn't throw the damn ball. Cleveland would have beat Green Bay outright. That's a fact. Jack.
I need to come back to this again. Okay. Stefanski runs the ball when the other team doesn't stack the box. He passes when the other team stack. At some point, you need your quarterback to do something.
Yes.
The Packers started the game last week, stacking the box. Cleveland came out throwing because when they have run into these stacked fronts this year, they have not had success. He's in a situation where he has a lemon of a quarterback. Other teams know that there's a lemon of a quarterback there. They know that they have to take away the running game. Later in the game, once the Packers get ahead, Cleveland was able to run the ball because the Packers went into their classic defense where they give
that you're bringing up are like Staley's been a stooge the last little while too. It's like, what are these guys doing? They're not geniuses. They're just they make bad decisions.
Well, of course. Well, yes and no. We can disagree on what bad decisions. Like we've had the analytics conversation.
Yeah.
By the way,
I don't want to get into it.
last week in the NFL, the most fourth down conversions in the entire history of the NFL in a single week. Analytics are working.
I didn't hear so much about fourth down last week from the major crews.
That you don't follow me on Twitter, then obviously.
No, I heard it
because
from you,
being
but
a dead horse the entire.
Oh look, like when I tuned into Sunday night, into Sunday Night Football, I didn't hear too much about it.
Tony Dungy's Christmas was ruined with all the fourth down conversions. Tony Dungy, Terry Bradshaw, all these guys are like, oh, what are we going to talk about?
So you're comparing me to a dinosaur. I'm fine with that. The difference is,
Cam, what is one of your favorite bands?
What?
Your
Oh,
favorite?
you're the best, Pizzola. I actually love it because we're so like, I love you, man. No, I really do.
Dinosaur Jr.
Yeah, what's wrong with them? all those bands from the '90s. They're better. Like,
No. We're not having this conversation
I'm not going to
again.
get into Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Mudhoney, all those. Whatever. I don't want to talk about '90s indie rock right now.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you this: some people deserve more money, and that's the end of the conversation. I like going for it on fourth down, but you got to know the situation of the game. That's all. Got to feel it out. Feel it.
The biggest one that I saw was in the Bills Patriots game when they went for the fourth and goal and got it early in the game. And I think I
liked it.
And then I turned to Cuss because I was watching the game with Cuss. I was like, now no one's going to talk about this. However, if they try to go for it again, fourth and goal, and don't get it, people are like, oh my God, they shouldn't have gone for it. They should have kicked a field goal, without realizing if they had just settled for the field goal each time, it would have been 6 points instead of just having 7 points.
Oh, you guys are right. You guys are right. I think we have to be aggressive. I just think that sometimes there's a time and a place, and I look at game flow, and there's other things that are involved in the decision-making process. You just can't go for it every time. And Pizzola explained that before. It's not just a numbers thing. Hey, 62% of the time, sure, you should be more aggressive, but sometimes you have to understand the situation a little bit more than just rolling the dice. And I love to gamble.
Yeah, like
there was a lot of coaches taking the points last week. 7 points.
Well, that's also the Kingsbury thing. That's a
3.
Kingsbury thing too that doesn't get factored into the spread, that he won't go for it. He'll kick a field goal from the half-yard line. It's like, what are you doing, pal?
Cliff Kingsbury kicking the field goal on 3rd and goal
Oh my God.
with like 30 seconds left last week.
That's insane.
I thought
believe that.
if there is ever proof that we live in a simulation, that was the proof right there. Like, I cannot actually believe that they were down 10 with over 4 minutes left. You either got to drive the field and kick the field goal before the 2-minute warning hits. That way you get the 2-minute warning as a timeout because they don't have any more timeouts. But once you get to 3rd and goal, why are you kicking? Like, I don't understand. And the commentators in these games are like, oh, they kick on 3rd and goal in case they fumble the snap, they still have another down. Okay, if you fumble the snap on 3rd and goal with no timeouts, good luck trying to get another kickoff in the next 20 seconds, first of all. Second of all, when was the last time we see a fumble snap on like one of these field goal attempts? Like, it doesn't happen.
Right. You're absolutely right, Pizzola. I'll agree with you 100% there. Yeah,
and
that's
you
why
need
you
a
have a snapper on your
touchdown.
team.
You need a touchdown.
No matter what.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And here's another thing, just one quickly, Pat. I know we probably got to wrap it up. Hey, kickers, don't do the old ballerina 6-yard job that doesn't get 10 yards. Try something new. How about you like just hit a low liner off a guy's melon, or do something different, or do like the half pooch squib, and then you have a guy like, I'm watching these teams execute onside kicks. I know a few of them have worked this year, but get creative. Like, Pizzola, you watch that college game. The guy, like, he literally tapped it like 5 yards. The other team just laughs. It's not even getting 10 yards. You stooge. You got to give your team a chance to win. Anyway, I agree with you guys on the Arizona play. Cliff Kingsbury, that was one of the worst coaching jobs I've seen in a long time. It was pathetic.
Final thing I want to wrap up after this. For the second consecutive year, Pizzola, Vegas, the state of Nevada, cleaned up and set records in November on sports betting. Is this coincidental that it's November, or is there something to do with the lines for football once we get to that point of the season? That, like, is there something to this that we should be trying to watch out for once we get to week 11, week 12, that maybe these lines are off, that underdogs have a better chance of just being severely undervalued, that potentially they could win outright? Because that's 2 consecutive years, and it grew this year. The state of Nevada won more on sports betting in November than any other month. Wasn't even close.
That's actually really interesting. My theory would be that their hold, which is the percentage that they take in off of each bet that's lost, basically, was probably lower for October, meaning that bettors had a better October than usual. And when that happens, people get happy. They risk more money in the following month. That's just the cycle of bettors. So if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably just completely coincidental. And actually, we do know this. We do know that the public had some really big winning weeks in October. All those favorites were winning. Like, all those money line parlays were winning. Couldn't get an underdog to win earlier on in the year. So I think that probably had something to do with it.
I don't know. I just remind me. It's just like week 18. Just bet all the underdogs. I guess it would be week 17 or week 18 now, week 17 last year. You might just want to sprinkle some real long shot underdog money line parlays, because you even set it up like the teams that have to win to get in the playoffs, just bet against those teams. Agreed.
I mean, it's something that, like, it's just a false narrative. It's as if like the other team doesn't care about playing. Like imagine that. Like, it's professional players. They're playing for contracts.
I agree, Pizzola. Like, take a look at all these other things that are happening in these leagues. The Raptors are hiring 3 guys off the street. They cover the spread by 1. The Minnesota Timberwolves couldn't even field a team. What, you don't think these guys want to upgrade their apartment to a penthouse, drive their stupid little, Nissan and get a Rolls Royce? They want 10-day contracts. Their woman's barking at them. Hey, we got to do this. We need more money. That's the thing. Like, I don't understand people's narratives. Like, they're human beings too. Like, they also need more. They want more, and you're going to play. You saw the Cleveland Browns during COVID. You're damn right we're playing. We want a paycheck. We need to get paid. Screw COVID. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think, Pat, a lot of the time people don't understand. It's like, oh, they got 10 guys out or something like that. What, the guys that are filling in don't want to play? Pizzola, you know the angle in hockey. When you get called up from the American Hockey League for the first couple games, you're on fire. Then water usually finds its level, right? You're playing on adrenaline, and then it's like, I almost love betting on the backups and guys that are slugs more than the starters because they're hungrier.
All right, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. We will be back next week for the Week 18 best bets, and of course, throughout the playoffs. Cam Stewart, tell everyone where they can find you this week.
First of all, I'd like to apologize for rambling today quite a bit.
It was what a
thank you. No, I'm figuring, yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. Pizzola.
If you want rambling, go back to like 3 weeks ago. That
Oh,
episode.
yeah. Oh, that also drooling. Anyway, I'm at the Sports Grid Network, 6 to 9 p.m. Doing shows with Gabe Morency. If you like gambling, our bag is full. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. We'll do it again because we'll bet. That guy bets more props. Like, I've never seen a man bet that many props before, but he does. So if you like to bet and just like have fun and have action and everything, we're the guys for you. And on Sunday at 1 o'clock in-game live, we get some in-game numbers too, Pat. It's a lot of fun, you know? And it's kind of like these bowl games. Find a team that's down like double digits, bet them, and then you can maybe middle the game. It's, you know, it's a lot of fun.
Rob Pizzola, you got something going on Sunday Night Football this week?
I do. I'm doing a Twitter Spaces from the BetStamp Twitter account, bringing on a few guests, friends of mine, that we will just be chatting.
No, not us.
We're going to be chatting. You know what? I extended an invite to a couple of people. They accepted. I got a list of people, and you guys are on the list. So
good.
You know, down the road we'll get to it. But it's Packers Vikings Sunday Night Football. You know, I'm just watching the games at home by myself. I'm always commenting to myself. I tweet a bunch of dumb shit. I might as well just be actually saying it. So we'll do a Twitter Spaces, which, I mean, if anyone wants to join, can ask some listener questions or whatever. But it's just a chat about the Sunday Night Football game. So tune in for that. And then anyone who hasn't downloaded BetStamp yet, download BetStamp because I am fairly positive it will help you become a winning bettor.
Be a lot of trolls on those chats. They're everywhere.
I deal with the trolls every day, Cam. The keyboard warriors. I mean, you get used to it after a while.
You do. After a while, you just shake your eyes.
There's a great feature on Twitter, which is the mute feature.
Oh, okay.
Where, you know what? They can keep typing to me for the rest of their lives. I'm not going to see it. They're wasting their time. I get the follow. I think the mute feature is a great feature.
I would agree.
I am a big proponent of the mute button on Twitter and just in general throughout life. The mute button
I
is
haven't even hit
fantastic.
the button yet. Anyway, thanks for telling me about it.
That will do it on the Pat Mayo
Yes.
Experience. Thank you all for watching. Smash the like on the way out. Join fantasygolfchampionships.com to get in the giant one and done if you want a chance at one of 2 free entries from me. Rate, review, and subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Leave a 5-star review, something you enjoy about the show, Twitter handle or email in that description so I can contact you if you are a winner. Jeff and I will be giving out winners next week on the show because golf is back. Football playoffs. Best time of the year if you're Pat Mayo and you enjoy the sports that Pat Mayo enjoys. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!